Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy May. First off, if you have the capacity, I would love it if you could go ahead and turn on your video. I know sometimes video is scary, but we are all one big happy family here. Going to talk today all about zebra pens, mental health. We're journaling. We're doing all of the fun things that we are going to have today. I am so excited to see all of your faces. I know I have to teach you guys all these fun tricks that I have, but part of me just wants to just sit here and see everyone's face and talk to y'all and do all of the fun things. But I am so excited to chat with you guys today to share with you, one, a little bit about my mental health journaling. Number two, to talk about some amazing zebra products, and also just to show how we can use journaling to help with our mental health products and how we can use it with these amazing zebra products. So like we said, really great. This is going to be recorded. So I do think that's just important for everyone to know. And a couple of things. I also wanted to just give you guys a little bit, even though I know we've been in the virtual environment for a very long time, Zoom still confuses me. I don't know if I'm the only one that Zoom still confuses, but I'm still learning it. So very weird, but just wanted to give you guys a couple of insiders of where to go. Number one, we have the chat box. So you'll be able to type a message in the chat box. I always like to start us off with drop and let me know where you are tuning in from today, so we can see if everyone can find the chat box, if they can see it. I see Pennsylvania. Random fact, I know the Pennsylvania State song. That's when people ask for a fun fact, I break out into the Pennsylvania State song. So don't make me do it. We see Rhode Island, California, New Jersey, Kansas. I see Connecticut. Ooh, we have Argentina. Look at that. I am joining y'all. I'll type mine into the chat today too, but from South Carolina, almost misspelled that. Atlanta. Okay. So many fun, awesome places. Like we said, it's recording. So anything that you do say or you do share is going to be put on the internet. So let's just keep that as a top of mind. And then if you have any technical difficulties, make sure to go ahead and drop it in the chat. We'll have someone who can go ahead and help you with that. I also like to give the disclaimer that I like to keep my classes fun, pretty lighthearted, if I could talk. And I also think that active participation is the best way to go ahead and to learn from other people. So I want this to be super interactive. Whether you want to go ahead and say something, if you want to drop something in the chat, or if you have a specific question and you feel like it's not being answered, at the bottom, if you scroll to the bottom, you should see a little page that says reactions. So if you scroll to the bottom, it should say reactions, and you should be able to drop a little emoji. So if you wanted to raise your hand or drop an emoji, if anyone wants to, if you guys can see, I threw a heart up on mine. So if there's anything that comes up, if you have a question, if you have something along those lines, and or you ever just want to drop an emoji for some encouragement, some love, some support, you guys can go ahead and do that at the bottom as well. So that is my housekeeping. For a little bit of an introduction, my name is Lauren. You can find me everywhere over at Plan with Laura. I like to call myself your type A BFF, but I share a whole bunch all about planning, organization, goal setting, journaling. And that's why I'm just so excited to be able to talk about these micro products, journaling, mental health, all of those amazing things that we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to share my screen so you guys can see. I have this, hopefully I can figure out my tech setup to get this over to y'all. Okay, perfect. Let me know if you guys can see my my workspace here. So once y'all can see that, let me know that you guys can see it. Perfect. I'm seeing some thumbs up. I'm seeing some hands. Great. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for letting me know. But this is what I am going to be using so you guys can see everything and to talk about that. Now, to start us off, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of the different products that we'll be talking about here today. These are going to be some of the different zebra products that I'm going to be using. The first one are these Mildliners. I need to know in the chat, do y'all use Mildliners? Are these your favorite markers and tools in the world? Because they for sure are mine. I feel like I use these every single day. I'm obsessed with them. These find their way into my journals, into my notebook. So we definitely are going to be using a whole bunch of these here today. And just show you some of the different capabilities that they have. There are a couple different versions of these, but these ones are the Creative Marker Pack. It is a 15 count. And just look at all the beautiful colors that we have here today. Now, the next item that I am going to talk about was a newer item to me for sure, but definitely something that I'm now going to start to incorporate into every day. But these are the ClickArt retractable marker pens. These ones are super colorful. Let me know if any of y'all use these. I got to know because I'm still learning all the tips and tricks that come along with this pack of the ClickArt markers. So we're going to definitely be using some of those as well. And then the tried and true, something that, again, another staple in my day-to-day life, in my journaling, in my planning, and everything are going to be the Sarasa dry clip. Now, these are a non-smearing gel ink rollerball pen. These are going to be in the 0.5. So this is the fine point scent 20 count. Look at all of these colors. Part of me doesn't even want to use them because they're all beautifully laid out and so aesthetically pleasing. So have to know if any of y'all use any of these as well. And just if we have any zebra fans in the house. But those are going to be some of the physical products that we use. Now, what you're also going to see me use and talk about here in today's class is associated with this. Now, you should have been able to access this on the registration link. I think someone's going to be able to throw this in the chat as well. But to help us with the class that we have here today, there are going to be some PDF printables that we are going to, I don't want to give you guys all the secrets about what we're talking about here today, but there will be this PDF printable bundle set that you should have access to. If not, we'll make sure someone throws that in the chat, but you can download it here to follow us along either live in the class. You can reference it if it's recorded, or what you can also do, and what I will be doing as well with you guys here live in the class, is also just using some paper from my journal that I use every single day to show you guys how easy it is to create, to journal, and to use these products. So I'll be using a mix of the PDF and a mix of this paper as well to get us started and to talk about this class. I see, is there a hand up? Angela, is that a question? Perfect. There should be an option to unmute. Perfect. Hi, Angela.
Hello. I would like to know if any of those are waterproof.
Waterproof. Do I have?
They are water resistant. So it's got a water-based pigment ink. So it's going to be acid-free, archival, and water resistant. Yep. For Sarasa clip. And then Mildliner, it also has a water-based pigment ink. ClickArt has a water-based dye ink.
Okay, so which ones are water resistant?
Mildliner and the Sarasa clip. Okay. And the ClickArt can be like blended with water. So if you wanted to do like watercolor techniques, you could do that with ClickArt. Okay. Really kind of all of them, you know, before they dry, you can kind of blend in with water a little bit, but then they become water resistant. So,
okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Angela. Perfect. Perfect. Any other questions before we move on? No? Awesome. Well, let's go ahead. So the first thing that I want to talk about, I'm going to give you guys, I want to go to this first sheet. So this is definitely something that you can follow along in real time, but also something that I want to go ahead. And the first thing that we're going to do here is in our journals, in our notebooks, in our planners, we are going to create what I like to call my favorite things list. And to start us off here, I am going to grab, let's say, what do we think? I'm going to grab a blue. Yeah, I like the blue highlighter. I'm going to grab the black ClickArt. Let's start with that. And I'll grab maybe another shade of one of the blue Mildliners. So I have 2 Mildliners. I have 1 ClickArt pen that we're going to use, and I'm going to get started here. Now, what you're going to see me do is I'm going to use this thicker side. So the cool thing about the Mildliners is that they are double-sided. So we have a bolder side that's going to have, I like to call it more of like a chiseled top that you can use, really great for highlighting, really great for if you have any specific items that you want to put in bold. And then what we also have here is I have a fine tip that I'm going to talk about and show you right here. I think these are really great for if we're writing in anything. I like to use these to make bullet points. There are lots of different uses and lots of different applications in which we can use the fine tip for as well. Now, my favorite list, before I get started, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to trace where it says the my favorite and things. I'm going to be using the bolder side to write in favorite and using the finer side to go into my and things. And the reason that I'm doing this, or the reason in which I started with a my favorite things list, really has to do with my mental health. And so I know that's what we're talking about here on today's call. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I think that it is such a great reminder for us all. But the My Favorite Things list actually really started from a conversation that I had with one of my friends, Jen Cabrera, online. And it really is when it comes to your mental health. Now, for me, journaling has been essential to my mental health. It has been one of the things that really has been kind of a cornerstone and kind of a key aspect. I think that I'm definitely someone who is very extroverted. I'm someone who loves to make other people feel happy and warm and welcome. And I know that when it came to my own mental health and talking about what I maybe thought was taboo or talking about my mental health, I always thought would make other people uncomfortable. So it's something that I definitely shied away from. And I think that as I have learned, and I'm very open in going to therapy and using therapy as something that has been so beneficial for me, it has become something that has been so important for me. Anyway, this my favorite list started as not every day is my favorite day in the world. Not every day am I always happy, or not every day, do I feel like I have the best attitude. And so I started to create a list of things that make me feel happy. My favorite things. I don't know if we have any Sound of Music fans, but when they sing, here are a few of my favorite things. That's kind of where this originated, where this started. And I love it because even on the days that I'm not always happy, or the days that things don't always feel like they're going my way, having a list that I can refer to. I like to keep this in the front of my journal, but just a list of things that make me happy, a list of things that put a smile on my face, a list of memories, a list of it. That's the favorite things list is so great because it can be anything. It can be from your favorite songs to your favorite podcasts to memories to funny things that your kids or your parents or your pets do. And you put them all together and you have this one place so that when the days aren't my favorite, for lack of better words, I have a list and something that I can reference. I see we do have a question that says, are we supposed to be coloring on the screen like you are? You 100% are able to. You can just listen to the class. I think it's more fun if you do it along with us. I'm using the PDF that we have right here. but I'm gonna show you really quick that if you were to do this just on notebook paper, that definitely is an option for you as well. But I did, like I said, use the chisel side of the Mildliner to go ahead and do this. But if I am just on paper, I'll show you really fast. I like to just push down really hard and make super thick lines. I like to go over it twice. That's just a personal trick of mine, but that I go ahead and I add on the paper right here. But I just use my, handwriting, not necessarily tracing anything right here. But I want you guys to start brainstorming because we are going to go ahead and we are going to create a my favorite thing list here together. So I want you guys to start brainstorming what are some of those things that you are going to add on your list. Okay. Perfect. So we're getting it done here. There, like I showed you, two different options of what you can do, whether it's on the paper or whether it is in a notebook page like this for you. Lydia, I see that you said you keep a gratitude journal where you jot down some of your favorite thing each evening. I love that. I think, that is so awesome. And with such a fun way that we can add some of our favorite things into our every single day. I definitely know that gratitude has been a part of my journaling process as well. And something that I find really important to do every single day. Okay, so the next thing that I went ahead and grabbed here, y'all, is I am going to go ahead and grab the black ClickArt pen. Now, to add a little fun, to add a little flair, like to do a little cursive. So since we have the outline for favorite over the top, I just go ahead in my cursive, in my handwriting, I just eyeball it. And we're going to do in cursive favorite over the top of what we already wrote. I like to do this. So, like the cursive F is going to go over the black letter F as well. And like I said, I'm using the black ClickArt to go ahead and do this in real time. So we're creating a little bit of dimension that we have here over our favorite. And I think it just adds a little fun, a little flair. Also a great way to just like practice our calligraphy. And then I just am going to take the black ClickArt as well again. And I am just going to write my at the top. And I'm going to write things over on the bottom as well, still using this same ClickArt. I think that this is also a place that you could experiment with different colors of whether it is the ClickArt itself or the different Mildliners. If you wanted to, I think, especially when it comes to my and things, it's a great way to use the fine side of the Mildliner markers as well. So now we have the basis. Again, if we're going to be doing this here on our journaling spread, let me grab that piece of paper once I finish out writing everything. But we're going to grab the journaling spread, same idea if you're following along in your journal. We're going to add some fun, some flair to it in real time. Perfect. Then once we've created the outline where we've written my favorite and things, now I'm going to go ahead and grab another color of the Mildliner. This is where I have gone ahead and chosen that second blue color. And we're just going to go ahead and right on the left-hand side of our page, we're going to start adding in some bullet points, right? We're going to add in bullet points. We can make these stars. I like to just make little lines. Again, I'm just going to go in and kind of free, just put them on the page where they feel right. I'm skipping a line here in our PDF. But we're going to go through and we're going to add a couple lines for some of our different favorite things that we have. And I think it could be so fun if we added like stars here, or we did hearts, or we did something along those nature. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab one of the Sarasa clip. I, again, went with black here. If we can see a theme, we're kind of going blue and black on this page. And now that's where I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start writing what some of my favorite things are just on every single day. Like I said, they can be just a mixture of whatever memories, ideas, favorite shows. I know here, one thing that I really love is I love candles, and I also have a bunch of comfort TV shows. One of them is I'm a new Harry Potter fan. So I've started watching new Harry Potter movies, and that's one of my comfort shows. So I'm going to go ahead and write here at the beginning, lighting a candle and watching a comfort TV show to start me off as one of those ideas. And so if you want to start to brainstorm a list and add that here onto your page, I'm going to play a little bit of music and kind of give us some time really fast, just for super quick for a minute to give you some time to go ahead and jot down some of those different ideas. Okay, perfect, perfect. So hopefully you had some time to go ahead and write down some things that you really love. I love that decorative journaling, especially like this. Like I always say, like we embrace the imperfections. Sometimes everything doesn't line up perfectly. Sometimes everything isn't, but I think it creates something beautiful and something so special. So here down below, you'll see what it looks like on your PDF or what it looks like if you decided to go ahead and do it in a journaling page. Like I said, I like to keep this at the beginning of my journal. So it becomes something that I can reference on the day to day, and it makes me smile, and also becomes something that I can add to, because as I'm making new memories, as I'm finding new things that I love, or sometimes like when, I don't know if you ever just like, you're in a bad mood or you're just like not having it. That happens to me. I already have a list that I don't have to make a decision. I'm like, I know this is going to make me feel better. So I'm going to turn to my favorites page list and have that here. Perfect. So that's the first thing that we're going to do, is we're going to start with our favorite pages list, but we're going to keep going. I really like kind of calling these types of items, like a little bit of a reference pages. I don't know about you, but I feel like I have to make so many decisions in my day-to-day life. I feel like I sometimes just have decision fatigue. And so when it gets down to journaling, or when it becomes, the time of the day where that's what we're doing, journaling or reflecting, and I know that I need to do it for my mental health, because it has become so key to my process, is having a place to put those emotions, to put those feelings. Sometimes I don't want to have to think about what to do. I think sometimes when I look at a journaling page, I get so overwhelmed, because I'm like, there's this blank page and somehow I'm supposed to fill it, and I'm supposed to put all of these things down. So the next thing that we are going to go ahead and do is create what I like to call reference pages. So we are going to start to think about some different journal prompts that we can create and that we can use. So again, when it comes to journaling, which journaling I think is so incredible for your mental health, we don't have to think about what we're journaling about. We can just create these pages, have them already ready. So when we need a journaling prompt, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that here. So things that we are going to go ahead and use for the journal prompts. We're going to get let's grab 5 different colors of the Mildliners. I'm going to try to grab colors that I haven't used already. So we're going to grab about 5 of those different colors. And I am also going to try and get corresponding colors of the ClickArt as well. This is just like for my brain. You definitely don't have to get corresponding colors. I think the more color, the better. At least that is my life motto, and what I am working with here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I missing one? We'll go with this one. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. I'm also still going to grab the black ClickArt. And what I want us to start and to go ahead and do is, this is going to be across 2 different pages. So we have 2 different PDFs here, or we will have the 2 different pages in a journal, if that is something that you are, if you're following us live here and what we're doing. So where we're going to start is, we're going to start up at the top. We're going to use that same technique that we did originally, which is using the more chiseled end of the actual Mildliner. So let me just show you guys really fast what that looks like. Again, that's going to be the thicker side of the Mildliner itself. And we're going to go ahead and again, we're going to create some of those block letters right at the top of the page. So we are just going to start, we're going to start tracing those in, or we're just going to use our handwriting and we're going to write them big on the page. And I like to write journal prompts because that's what we're going to be making here for our reference sheets right now. I like to trace them over just about 2 different times. For me, that works out the best. So let's just start with journal. I mean, if you want to move ahead to prompts, you totally can, but we are just going to start really fast here with journal. And like I said, Journaling used to be something that intimidated me. It also was the one thing that for the longest time, I just could not stay consistent with, because I would look at a blank journal and I would get so overwhelmed and I would feel this pressure that nobody put on me besides myself to feel like I have to fill out a whole entire page. When it came to journaling, I think once I kind of released myself from that pressure of feeling like you have to, journaling looks one specific way, or it's only done right in one way, that is just so totally false. Journaling is whatever you decide journaling is. But it all just depends on what you need. Now, I do see a chat down in the box below. Is that, do you use a regular blank journal or one with dots? I feel like you might need a big journal with dots, but I haven't found one. I do really love dot grid. When I come to my journaling, I will say I do use just a line journal. I really just love the A5 size. You definitely could make it bigger or smaller, just depends on what do you need and what that looks like. Okay, so once we have finished journal, the next thing that I'm gonna go ahead and do is grab my ClickArt. For this one, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the black ClickArt pen, and we're gonna give a little bit of texture. So in the last page that we made, we added some cursive. This time around, we're going to give a little bit of texture. And the way that we're going to go ahead and do this is we are going to outline on the right-hand side of the letter. So let me show you what I am working with here. But it's going to kind of create a little bit of a reflection, or that's what I believe. That it adds a little bit of texture. So for a J, we're just going to go right down the backhand side of the J. When we get to our O, we're going to go on the anything that's kind of on the right side. So we're going to go on the inside section of the O. I only do it about halfway. And then we're also going to go on about halfway on the back side of the O as well. And so I'm going to continue to do this for my U. I'm going to do anything that kind of looks like it's on the right. So it's going to be the first half of the U, which is going to be on the inside. And then I'm going to do the second half of the U on the outside. I just think it gives it a little bit more dimension, a little bit more texture. And we're going to put a little bit more, we're going to pop a little bit here on our screen and in our journal. But I think that's one of the things also that I love about the Zebra products is that there are just so many different techniques that we can learn. I feel like I'm always learning new ways to add dimension, to add creativity into my journaling and into my planning as well. So I'm just going to keep going kind of on the right side here. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do this. We are just practicing. We're doing it here together. We're adding a little bit of dimension to our page to create something just a little bit different. So hopefully you guys can see here. Let me bend the page a little bit so you can get a better view, but how we just added a little bit of dimension. We took our ClickArt, our black ClickArt, we went down the right side. We're just adding a little bit of fun to our page here. So we did that here for journal. We are going to do the same exact thing for prompts. So I'm going to take, again, my chiseled end of my Mildliner, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start that process to go ahead and do the same exact thing on this side. But I also want to know, so for my journalers out there, I know you guys are, we're in our journals right now, but what size journals are we using? What are people liking? Like I said, mine is an A5. I think that's kind of what I like to go. I see we have an 8.5 by 11 size in terms of journaling. Oh, Hobonichi cousin. A6. See y'all? Traveler's notebook, those are fun. An Archer and Olive Ray, I'll have to check that out. Ooh, a 5-year journal. So many different great options that we have coming in from the chat. There should be some really great, if you don't already have a notebook that you're using and that you're loving, there should be some really great options there. But we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get prompts same way that we did journal. We're gonna grab our ClickArt as well. We're gonna trace down the right-hand side. That's my personal preference when it comes to these, is to go ahead and trace down the right side that we're going to have. So I am going to get that done quickly so then we can kind of move forward here and take you to the next section. So what we're going to be doing, and you guys can see a little bit of the outline here on my page already, is that we are going to create some different sections that we can create and have these reference pages for. So when we do come to our journaling, we already have journal prompts, we already have ideas. And so then what we're focused on is more of the execution in terms of our journaling for that day. S is always kind of, I found a little harder. Okay. Perfect. So the 4 journal prompts that I kind of came up with, the ones that I use the most on the day-to-day are for when you need extra love, for leaning into some of your affirmations, for your mental health, and to help with your memory keeping. Again, we're gonna keep staying with our Mildliners here. We're gonna grab a Mildliner in one color. We're gonna grab a ClickArt in another color, and we are gonna go again. Now for this time, we've been using mostly the chisel edge. Now we are gonna go ahead and use that fine tip edge, and that's where we're going to start here. So I started on the left-hand side. I am using that fine tip edge, and I am just going to write right here at the top for when you need extra love. Now I'm going to add some just little hearts, just little kind of emoticons that I'm drawing right into and on the page. And then what I am going to go ahead and do is I'm also going to take my ClickArt pen, and that is when I'm just going to put a little line underneath it. And that's where we're gonna, that's our first section. Now, I might in my emoticons go through, maybe add some of an outline. And then I'm gonna grab my Mildliner again, taking that chiseled edge one more time. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to create some lines. Those, again, I'm using them more as bullet points. And those are going to be where I'm adding some of my journal prompts later. So that's what we're going to do here for our first one. Now, the second one that I have is for leaning into your affirmations. The third one that I have is for your mental health. And the last one that I have is to help with memory keeping. So those are the 4 prompts that I'm using here in today's class, but you can use whatever prompts, you know, that speak to you or that are important in your life. So if maybe you have some specific goals that you're working on, or if there's something like if you want something more related to joy or something that's maybe more related to family, you can kind of come up with your own section here. Again, that's the beauty with journaling, is that we take what we want and we add it into our own journals. At the end of the day, our journals are for nobody but ourselves. And I think that's also such a beautiful part of journaling. But you go ahead and either you can take the same ones that I am using here, or you can go ahead and you can add your own. And if you have a journal prompt that you love, I would love if you went ahead and threw it in the comments down below, so that as we start to think about some of our journaling prompts, as we start to think about some of the prompts that we want to add to our different reference pages, that we can also have those here for everyone to use. But yes, we're going to go through, we're going to make 4 different categories. I did 2 on each of my different pages. We are still using our Mildliners and our ClickArts as well. Ooh, I like that one, Lisa. You said under to help with memory keeping, what made me laugh today. That's a really awesome one. Ooh, a good prompt, things I need to unlearn. I really like that idea. I feel like that could go under mental health. That could go for affirmations, lots of different. Lots of different options here. So like I said, we're going to have the 4 different sections that we are going through. And if you haven't guessed it by now, the next thing that we are going to go ahead and do is we are going to add some different journaling prompts to these different 4 sections that we have. So again, there are going to be some that I like to go ahead and throw in. Now, I want to let you know, you don't have to fill all of these in all right now, even to just start thinking. I think there's been some really awesome ones that have been thrown in the chat already, but I'm going to put on some music here for a little bit. This should give you some time to either finish up this reference page. If you've already finished it, go ahead and start adding what are some different prompts that you can add for your journal referencing pages to help you when it comes to journaling on the day-to-day. All right, all right. So hopefully, I know we've been throwing out a whole bunch of journal prompts in the chat. Hopefully you were able to take some of them from here. I'm going to show you, if you're doing this in your journal, this is kind of what it looks like for me, sticking along with those same prompts that we have been using. Now, what I think is, again, really great about these reference pages is that you can go ahead, you can fill them all out now, or what you can do is you can fill some out now with some of the journal prompts that we've had, but also too, like, use these to find yourself some prompts like later in the week, in the year, in the month. You could also, I feel like you could just like remake these every single month if you wanted to. But while we're here and we're remaking, or while we're here, I think what's really great is if you're reading a book or you're listening to a podcast or you are just going about your day-to-day life and you see something that you can turn into a really great journal prompt, you'll have these reference pages here at the beginning of your journal that you can go ahead and use as you go into your actually journaling. So those are some of the different reference pages. We started by creating our favorite things. From there, we went ahead and we made some of the journal prompts. And now let's go ahead and we're in a journaling class. So let's journal, you know? How does that sound? We can go ahead. We'll do a little bit of journaling. I'll show you guys how I add a little pizzazz to my journal. Again, we're using some of my favorite products here from Zebra. I do want to quickly mention, because I just got so excited to start working on our journal prompts, that I went ahead and used one of the Sarasa clip pens when I went through and actually created the journaling prompt spread that you see here. Again, you can do it with ClickArt, but I use the Sarasa clip for these pages. Just wanted to point that out because I know we're throwing around a lot of different, we're using a whole bunch here on the page right now. So I have another 2 pages that I'm going to be using, showing you a really fun, super easy check-in that we can do and that we can create. Just like we did last time, we're going to grab some different colors of our Mildliners. We're going to grab some different colors of our ClickArt pens. And that's what we're going to start here. So again, where we see bold facing text, so up here in the top for me that says life lately. I also says where it says naming our fears, just any of those different sections. We're going to go ahead, we're going to take that Mildliner that you have and we are going to just start tracing them, kind of using that same chiseling technique. So I like to we'll start on the left-hand page first by doing a little bit of a recap of what's going on in my life lately, right? So that's why I'm putting life lately here at the top. So we're going to take that chiseled pen like we have, and we are just going to write over it. We're going to write life lately. I'm using a purple. I really love this purple color. It's one of my favorites. So that's what we're going to start with right here at the top. I see we also had a journal from Katie where it says, how did you get started journaling? I've always wanted to start, but I think I'm afraid of what might come out. Any ideas of how to start, where to start? No judgment at all, Katie. There's never any silly questions. For me, when I started journaling, like I said, I feel like I've said it a million times, I got so overwhelmed by the idea of journaling. And I also know that the online journaling community is so big and it's so wonderful. But I also do think that your journal at the end of the day is just for you. And it's just something that you are creating. So I would say grab any journal. There have been a whole bunch that have been put into the chat here, and just start. Sometimes when I first started journaling, I used to just make lists. So it'd just be a bunch of lists of things that I wanted to do, some of my goals, some of my different ideas. And once I got okay with lists, sometimes when I journal, it still is list. Sometimes when I journal, I'm just recounting because I don't want to forget something. Sometimes I journal and it's like my grocery list. So journaling, there's no set way to do it or set way that it has to do it. Hopefully in this class, you're finding some prompts that should help you in kind of creating your own journaling practice. I also think it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like if you journaled for 7 minutes one day, that's great. Sometimes I pick up a journal and I write for 20 minutes. And sometimes I pick up a journal for about 2 minutes and I say, okay, now I'm done with it. So I definitely think experimenting with different types of journaling, like I said, hopefully with some of the reference pages that we're creating here today, it can provide you some ideas or at least give you some prompts or some things to think about when it comes to journaling. And so hopefully that answers your question. And good luck on your journaling journey. Yeah, I see some people say that they have different journals for different moods, a neat one, monthly list. Some people just like to brain dump. Sometimes you just open your journal and write. Stream of consciousness helps you process things. Some people have a junk journal. There's so many different options that you have. Okay, so what we've done so far is we've taken the chiseled end of our Mildliner, and I've gone through and I've written out life lately. At the bottom, I wrote out loving. I drew these little hearts to keep it there. Now, one thing that I do like to do and that we are going to do over here is that I like to create up in the left-hand corner a little box. So I'm going to grab my Mildliner one more time. I'm going to create this box. I'm just freehanding a box onto the page. And I kind of like to keep this section a little bit open. I like to create just a dedicated section to here. You can add a photo, you can add a sticker, maybe a sticker that you're loving, a doodle, you can add a quote. But I'm just creating this box in the upper left-hand corner to do that. I'm going to grab a sticky note really fast and kind of just add it here. That this can be a photo, this can be a sticker, this can be a doodle. There can be multiple things that you add in here. And then we're going to use one of the techniques. Remember when we use that right-hand side with our black ClickArt? That's what I'm going to take here, and I'm going to just create a couple lines behind it just to give it a little bit of texture, just to give it a little bit of dimension here on my page, and to have it pop out a little bit. I think when it comes to the life lately section, we can also either use kind of the cursive technique that we talked about up front, or we can also add in those lines as well. So I like to kind of at the top of when I first start journaling out, do a little bit of a recap, right? So what's going on in my life lately? What are things that are going on? What are my routines look like? Where just like what's going on in our life right now? Then towards the bottom, I traced out loving with our chiseled side, but then I am going to change over to our fine side of one of our Mildliners, and I am just going to open it up really fast here and then start writing in cursive. I like to create a little section to just say, at this moment in time, today, where I am on May 18th of 2022, what are some things that I am just currently loving? I think it's really cool to look back at a journal and just kind of see a snapshot in time. So what are TV shows that I love? What is a meal that I love? What's my favorite song of the moment? So just creating a little section here. You can take your ClickArt if you want. I actually think that's what I'll do. And I'm going to trace it, just the cursive section really fast, just to, again, add a little bit dimension to what I'm loving. And we just play with this, right? We just play with this to add in some different things of our snapshot currently right now with life. I think it's also a really great way, like if you wanted to, maybe I'll add a little bit kind of like a half crescent or something to kind of just section it out on my page. So we can kind of create a barrier from one side of my page to the other side of my page. So I think I'll do that with my chiseled side of my Mildliner as well. And so that's what I'm going to start and do here over on the left-hand side. Created one section that's just going to be life lately, another section or what are some current things that I'm loving. And then I'm going to move to the left side of my page. And that is where I am going to create three kind of different sections. The first one is I have naming our fears. I know something, I have anxiety, and I know that for me, to manage my anxiety, the best thing to do is kind of to name my anxiety, naming the things that are making me anxious right now, things that I'm currently struggling with, or things that, could creep up again. So for me, it really helps in going to be able to write those down. So I'm going to create a section here at the top. Again, we're going to use that chisel top to just go ahead and write out naming our Now I'm going to use the, I think I'm going to use a ClickArt. That's what we're going to do. So let me go ahead and find a ClickArt and grab one. And I'm then going to use that ClickArt to do a little bit of cursive for fears here at the bottom. But we're going to create that as our first section here. So we're going to do naming our fears. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab, once I finish writing fears, I'm going to grab my black ClickArt. And under my fears, because we got to name those, we got to have those, keep those top of mind. It's important to keep, I think, our affirmations top of mind. So I'm going to create a little section. I'm just going to write affirmations and a couple lines under affirmations. I'm going to write mental health check-in. So I'm just creating kind of these little sections of things that I think are important, things that I want to keep top of mind, and things that, you know, I'm going to use my journal to help me do on a day-to-day basis. I'm just using the black ClickArt here. Then I'm going to take another different color when it comes to a Mildliner. We're just going to highlight over them. I find, you know, making things kind of as clear cut and as simple as possible, or straight to the point, at least in my perception, makes it easier for me to actually stay consistent with it and stay on track with it. So after I highlight that, I like to create one last section here, and that is going to be what I kind of call the looking forward section. So after we take time to look in the past, right? What does life look like? What are some things that we're currently loving? Then we're going to look to what's going on in the present by naming our fears, thinking through some affirmations that are going to be important to us. And then I like to create a little section that I call looking forward. So in this section here, I'm just going to add just what's coming up in life lately, you know, whether it's things that are going on in work, things that are going on in school, things that I'm excited about, or maybe even things that I'm not too excited about. But again, I'm using my Mildliner. We're using that chiseled edge. And then when I do my little bit of cursive here at the bottom, I'm going to use more of that fine tipped section. And I'm going to draw an arrow just because, you know, it makes it, we're looking forward. So we're going to draw a little bit of an arrow as well. Now maybe I'll add some dimension by outlining where it says looking, just so it pops a little bit from the page. So I'm going to grab my black ClickArt pen. We'll add a little dimension to these letters by just outlining them. And so here is where we have here's where we have a page, right? We have a page, a section of creative journaling that has us check in with ourselves of where we are right now in life, what that looks like, taking stock of the beautiful things that are happening and just what life looks like right now. We're going to have a couple sections for affirmations and a mental health check-in. We're going to name those fears that we have, and we're going to even have a little section to move forward. So now it's time to, you can fill it in now, you can leave it in, you can still work on your spread. Like I said, these are just some ideas of what I have. Obviously, you know, edit it a little bit, make it more realistic to what your day-to-day life looks like. But I'm going to go ahead, throw some music on to give you some time to finish this, or to even start with that journaling process and what that looks like for you.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I know that we are coming up on time. And so I wanted just to take a moment and show y'all everything that we created today, y'all. We started out by creating a My Favorites Things list where we created a page for the days that when everything's not going according to plan, or maybe we're not as happy, we have a list and a place to go ahead and write down all the things that we are thankful for, all the things that we are grateful for, all the things that make us happy. Then when it comes to journaling, because sometimes it can be overwhelming, sometimes we make a lot of decisions that we have to, we created some of journal prompts reference pages where we can talk all about, just different prompts to help us on our day-to-day. We can use these journaling pages or journaling reference pages to go ahead and add more prompts throughout the year. And then we even outlined and created a actually journaling spread that gave us a space and place to name all of those feelings, to house all of those feelings. And I know that we did them here on some of the PDFs that we created for the class, but I also just wanted to show you guys how they look in a journal. I don't want you to think like, hey, Laura just did this class. Let me show y'all exactly. I'm going to grab you my journal and show you exactly how these pages look into them, because I promise you, these are the things that I am using every single day. So we started off at the beginning with some of the My Favorite Things pages. Again, as you can see here, it opens up perfectly. I like to keep my favorite things and my journaling prompts side by side to one another so that I can see them, because then it just makes it a really great and easy space for when I want to go ahead and actually start on my day-to-day journaling. So if you can see here, I've gone ahead, oops, not there, one more page, gone ahead and made my journaling page where I've filled in all of the information where I'm thinking about life, jotting down what I'm loving, naming our fears, thinking through affirmations and mental health check-in, but also really, really looking forward. So that is what I have for you guys here as we're using some of these Mildliner products in our day-to-day. I want to leave a couple minutes for if anyone has some Q&A. I would love to answer them and answer any questions that you may have. So feel free to drop it in the chat or come off of mute. I see one, Susan, you are getting us started. It said, can you give us a few examples of how you answered some of the different prompts? I would love to. So I have my journal here. So when I talked about, and are we talking journal prompts or like our journaling spreads? So for example, we'll do a little bit of both. For example, when I'm thinking about, okay, when I'm on the page, right, where I have journal prompts for your mental health, when I go to do my mental health check-in and my actually journaling spread, I'm going to go and look at one of those prompts and say like, okay, how am I, I'm going to use one of those journaling prompts. So the first one that I have here is, what boundaries do you need to set for yourself right now? And so when I go to my mental health check-in section on my actual journaling page, then I'm going to say, okay, what are some of these boundaries that I need to set right now, given this specific area of my life right now? Because the boundaries that I need to set maybe today on May 18th are probably going to be different than they were 6 months ago, and are probably going to go ahead and be different as we move forward to the future. So again, I'm using those different areas when I have journal prompts for different affirmations. The first one that I have is, what does success look like to you? So when I go to my affirmation section, I'm going to think about, okay, again, success probably looks different in my life right now than it did in the past, and it will in the future. So I'm thinking about those different types of things. I really like using the journal prompts for memory keeping when I'm kind of dealing with that life lately section. So thinking about just some of the certain things like, what's your favorite part of this month? Or when do you feel most happy? And kind of relating that to my life in the current moment. Obviously, they can also be used for past moments or future moments, but that's a little bit of how I use my reference pages to go ahead and then add them to my planner as well, or my journal as well. So hopefully, Thank you guys for joining us. Victoria said, do you use any of these products in your planner? And if so, how do you color code? Yes, I use Mildliners and specifically the Sarasa clip pens. Those are in my planner every single day. I'm a very big functional planner, so I really love making to-do lists. I really love to color code by kind of the week. So each week I will just pick a Mildliner, I'll pick a Sarasa clip, and I always have a black pen on hand to go ahead and add those elements into my planner. Sometimes I do have a puppy and I'm in the process of also, I am getting married this August. So I am also adding a lot of our wedding planning tasks in pink and our puppy in blue. So we're color coding, doing different things. Ray asked, what are some of your favorite color palettes for your journaling pages? Do you prefer brights or pastels? I definitely find myself tending to lead to very bright and pastel colors. I think that sometimes journaling is really kind of associated. And I think also like mental health sometimes is really associated on a negative side of things. And I don't know if we think color theory, like bright and happy colors make us feel happy and make us excited. So I really like to frame my journaling specifically regarding my mental health in a happy light, even if it's not the happiest of topics, just because that's my personality and what I tend to like. So, but my favorite colors are also kind of in the blues and the purples. So that's why in this class, we did use a lot of blues and purples and pinks as well. So, it says, can I see the prompts for page 1, love and affirmations? I will go ahead. I have pictures of all of these. So I will go ahead and post these pictures on my Instagram so that you guys can see all of them. You can share them. I also, Zebra team, I'll make sure to share them with y'all if you want to throw them up in a blog post or on your social media as well. So that we can make sure that everyone can see the different prompts that we've created here today. Ray said you love green and purple. Yes, those are also really fantastic colors. So yeah, blues, purples, pinks, those are my favorite too. I use a lot of those. So yeah, so that's what we have, y'all. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or on Facebook. I have really enjoyed being here. I hope you guys like the journaling. I hope you guys like the music. I listen to music all the time. So this was from one of my absolute favorite playlists, and you'll always find me listening to music when I go ahead and journal. If I can leave you with some last words of journaling, it doesn't have to be every single day, though I do recommend it. And 5 minutes, that's all you need. 5 minutes to jump into a journal, to think about some of these different ideas. Hopefully you have prompts and ideas that are taking you through this process. And I do also just want to give a really big shout out and a very massive thank you to the Zebra team for, first off, having these wonderful products that we get to use and that help us with our mental health and that help us with planning and that help us with our goals and truly are helping us in our day-to-day life. But also to Michaels for making this class and having this opportunity for allowing us all to be together. So I could talk forever, but I know we got to go. So thank y'all so much.